Warning, this podcast contains 11 dead witches.
Is there really 11 of them?
Yeah, I lost count.
Jeez.
What's up, everyone, and welcome to the ASOTV podcast for the originals. Season 3, episode 2. I almost inverted that because I'm Lex Dixon. I'm your host, Dom. Or, season 3, episode 2, You Hung the Moon. Sorry. I'm your host, Dom. With me, my co-host, Nikki.
Hi.
And my co-host, Michael.
Hello, Dominic.
Who's that? I don't know.
Never mind.
I'm Klaus's father.
What? No. I called you Dominic.
Who's that?
You.
Oh. I don't know who that is. So, what'd you think of this episode?
There was much more going on than last episode.
Was there?
Yeah.
Like what?
Last episode seemed to be the establishing episode. This was the shit hits the fan episode.
Yeah.
Things burnt and died and then lived and then didn't transform. And then somebody kind of weeped a little bit because he got his ego.
Bruised.
Yeah, bruised.
My only real question coming out of this is, what was in the box that helped what's-his-face get over the werewolf bite?
Oh, silver nitrate or something like that.
Yeah, I don't exactly know what it was. It's not red, so it wasn't Klaus's blood. We know that much. But we don't exactly know what it is. But, anyway, so, for this episode, we were talking last week how the Sire Line War was kind of going to be the prominent thing going on in this episode. And then we find out how it's supposed to go down. We see the prophecy. And one by friend, one by foe, one by family.
So which one do you think gets who?
Well, that's if this prophecy even comes true.
Well, I know, but I mean, retrospect.
Well, the family can't be the last. I mean, it could be, but it
Could be.
'cause-
I mean, they're only talking about the originals. I mean,
right, so that would be Davina, Klaus, and Elijah.
You mean Rebecca, Klaus, and Elijah. I mean,
No,
family
yeah,
could
Davina. Why'd I
include
say
Freya.
Davina? Yeah, Freya, but...
Or Hope.
Exactly. So, I mean, Freya could kill one of the remaining. And if it's going to be anybody, it's going to be Klaus.
Yeah, family seems like the big one that it would hit Klaus the hardest.
Right, and it would hit Klaus the hardest, but everybody would be expecting that, so it'd probably be Elijah who got killed by family.
Yeah, so if it's one by friend, I'm going to say Davina. Maybe.
Rebecca.
I don't know.
Is Davina really a friend, though? I don't know. It's hard to tell, because Davina is sometimes against... Davina's definitely against Klaus, but I don't know about the other two. So Davina could be the enemy. I feel like Davina would have to be a big part of it. One by... So, I don't know, maybe she would be foe. Friend could be... Marcel. Yeah. Or Cammy, even.
Cammy even, yeah. We all know that she has her magical ties somewhere, and all her items and everything. She might find some way around it.
Yeah.
The way Lucien says, there is always another way.
Yeah, and family, I think we're all kind of convinced that it's going to be Freya, so...
Yeah. Makes
I think
sense.
that part's going to be by accident.
It could be if it may be done last, If Elijah and Rebecca are killed, Klaus would go on a spree, whatever, and flip out, and then I could see, Freya wanting to take Klaus down. So I'm curious, because we know that, spoiler-ish kind of for Vampire Diaries, we know that they're doing some timeline jumping around, seeing the future and stuff like that. There's been no talk of that right now for the originals, but it's a possibility.
I mean, we are seeing prophecies of the future.
Right.
We don't know how far in the future they are.
Right. So the timeline could be advanced later on, and maybe get a preview of like an alternate timeline and see like how it could have happened. So if they start flashing forward and seeing some stuff in the originals here, they could show us what could have happened.
What could have happened, yes, but
and really fuck with us, because then we're like, wait, Rebecca's gonna be dead, and then I'm gonna be mad,
Last episode, going back to Lucian said that you'll be dead inside of the year if this prophecy comes true. Right. So this prophecy for the originals is within the year. The time jump in Vampire Diaries is what, 3 years?
3.
That they're showing.
Yep.
And I mean, unless they unbind all the bloodlines somehow, which this could lead to, because the whole bloodline war is kind of interesting. So unless they find a way to unbind it, then we know that the originals' bodies are still intact.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
But I see, Rebecca's the one that I'm the most curious about, because Rebecca is in another body. If that body dies and Rebecca's consciousness dies with it, because her actual body of Rebecca Mikealson is still alive, does the whole bloodline die?
I think it's tied to the actual physical body.
Right. So.
Rebecca would be the easiest one to take out if they got to her.
Right.
Yeah, because body. Uninhabited body.
Mm-hmm.
There's no real resistance there. Just figure out a way to kill it.
Yeah. But Lucian, whatever, I think it's Lucian, they actually pronounce it, but in grand scheme of things, it doesn't actually matter. Is saying that there's some way to kill them. Don't be so sure, whatever. And, Elijah gets Freya to help out. They get the blood, that's still left in Klaus's system from the witch from last episode. And she confirms it. It's possible.
Mm-hmm.
It's possible, yes. And, I mean, we've never had this actually answered, I think, in concrete, have we? Can you kill an original by chopping their head off? Or tearing out their heart like you could any other vampire?
No, it's never been confirmed, and we've asked this question many times.
I mean, yeah, it's not going to... it's going to be very difficult to pull off with how powerful they are, but... There's your possibility right there.
I guess. I feel like it would be much more than that, though.
Is it gonna pull like the first Blade movie? You chop his head off, and he's just gonna like, and the blood's gonna rip him back together like a bungee cord.
I'm not sure. I don't know how that would work. I don't even think they know how that would work. I think it's just something that they'll never actually deal with. And just leave us wondering forever. But the episode starts off with kind of, Elijah and Jackson trying to figure out where Haley went, and then we, the little musings of what's going on there. But the meat and the bones of the beginning was really about Haley and Davina. So we get Davina trying to talk Haley into killing the witch responsible for attacking her last episode. Because Davina can't really go to the vampires for help because she doesn't want to be a vampire sympathizer. So knowing that all Marcel's vampires are accounted for elsewhere, that leaves Haley to slip in and out and do what she's got to do. Even though she's the last remaining hybrid right now, she's still technically part vampire. So I don't know how that would make it seem like she's not a vampire sympathizer when she's still technically working with one.
It's because Haley kills differently than a vampire. She's more savage about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's more, ripped
animal.
to pieces.
I mean, she got rid of that one witch right away.
Well, that
really
was her.
Quick.
That was her target.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was her primary target, and as far as she was, she was done walking out of there nice and slow, like mission accomplished.
Until the other 10 witches jumped her.
And at first, I thought that was a trap, like intentionally laid like that.
Nah, Davina wouldn't do that to her.
Mm-mm.
Or by either Davina or the witch whose neck just got, cracked. Which I'm thinking, hey, that's a terrible ambush if it winds up with you dying.
Yeah. It'd be a terrible plan if your plan was to die so you could kill, your assassin. Either way, terrible plan. But, even with the 10 witches, like, doing What do they give him a brain aneurysm over and over again? Is that what the witches do? I forget. Bonnie explained it back in like
I
season 2.
Yeah,
think that's what they do.
That's what it is. Yeah, it's just a brain aneurysm that they just keep happening.
Yeah.
Wasn't enough to keep Haley down, though.
It
No, 'cause
certainly
she's-
wasn't. 10 witches doing it was not enough to keep Haley
She's
down.
a hybrid.
Yeah.
And yeah, but there, like you said, Haley kills differently. I mean, she ripped one
very
guy's head
feral.
off and threw it at another person, ripped somebody's arm off. Yeah, it's very feral.
You know, and then Davina gets to be at the funeral and sympathize, you know, with them and win them over, you know, to her favor.
Tries to.
Yeah. So her plan basically is going exactly how she wanted it to go. So
For the most part.
things are looking good for her. But as for Haley, you know, she gets her and her tribe get to walk, you know, amongst the world again, I guess. You know, back on 2 feet, 2 legs. Most of the tribe seems obliterated. And we found out right at the beginning of the episode who's responsible. Lucian. I mean, I think we kind of surmised that last week.
We did, yeah.
So
That plan would have backfired horribly on him had one of them successfully killed Haley.
yeah,
Because it would.
he would have just been dead.
Yeah.
That would be the end of that.
Done. Game over.
But luckily for him, it was not. That's when Elijah confronted him, goes there. Then we found a brand new kind of spell, which was really cool. It was a bloodline spell. You know,
Yeah,
only Klaus's
yeah.
bloodline could come in. The other existing bloodlines could not. That's very interesting.
Well, they had to be invited in, like, you know, a standard household kind
Right.
of thing.
Yeah,
I
never thought of that.
It's
really
nothing
cool kind of
fancy.
thing.
It's a barrier spell with conditions.
Yeah, but still, it's cool. It's brand new. It's something I've never heard of in any of the mythologies.
Yeah, I mean,
also-
well, also, like, you never really found any other vampires putting boundary spells around their houses.
Right.
They just had a human under their thumb.
Right. Exactly.
So
I mean,
that brings us to the question of what witch is helping Lucian.
This prophetic witch?
probably the witch who made the prophecy. I mean,
Yeah.
or they have a couple more hanging around.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know if the prophecy witch necessarily has other powers like that. She could just be like a prophet.
Yeah.
So,
Ah,
I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibilities that she could
We
be
know
both.
there's witches all over New Orleans, and even though they're harping on Davina for being vampire sympathizers, they could be digging their pockets in other places, you know?
Yeah, one of the covens could be working with Lucian,
mhm.
trying to clear out the werewolves and, you know, things like that. So that's completely plausible. I loved, you know, the classic Elijah where, I can't get in, so I'm going to start chucking things in.
Yes, it protects you from the bloodline. You know.
This was not the first time he's done this.
No.
Yeah, exactly. This isn't the first time. It probably won't be the last. Like, hey, I can't get in. Well, I wonder if it protects against objects thrown by me.
Oh, he didn't wonder. He knew.
You know.
Yeah, you know.
'Cause
I don't think
if
he
I'm not
cared
mistaken,
if it did.
when
Nobody's gonna think that far ahead.
in Vampire Diaries, I think it was like season 4. Didn't Elena and Damon, or was it Elena and Stefan, flee to her family's cabin?
Yeah, and he
Wasn't that Elijah that was outside? It was either Elijah or Klaus. I'm almost positive it was Elijah, and they just
Pretty
started
sure it's
chucking things
Elijah.
into the house. So, like, he's seen it before, so he
Mm-hmm.
knew exactly. So, yeah, just impales him right in the throat. Lucian's just like, "Ugh." You know, and then when he still thinks he's got the upper hand, all of a sudden, here comes Jackson. Never thought I'd see Jackson and Elijah working together.
they have a common goal.
Mm-hmm.
They do.
Yeah.
But I still never thought I'd see it. So, that was really awesome, and I was like, oh, now they got him by the balls, you know, like, he's bit by a werewolf, he's fucked.
That's what I
Yeah.
thought too, until the aforementioned silver goo crap came out.
Yeah. So, I'm kind of curious what that is. It could be silver, because silver is tied to werewolf mythos, but in this universe, it's not their weakness.
No,
So-
but like to mix it with some sort, like I said, like a nitrate or something, where I don't know, like that's been used before. I think it's an
Right.
underworld or something, but I mean, still, I like to mix it with something
Underworld.
to,
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah, and to give it magical properties. It might be able to be a curative.
Yeah, so I'm thinking since silver is tied to werewolf lore that maybe it's used in a different sense that we're not used to. You know, maybe it's
Could have
used
been
as a cure.
Wolfsbane too.
Yeah, well, wolfsbane actually does hurt them.
Yeah,
So
you would think it would
I
eradicate their
think
venom.
I'm almost positive if they tried wolfsbane in Vampire Diaries when Damon's girlfriend was bit. I don't remember.
Yeah, but this is Damon versus a 1,000-year-old vampire that probably has a bazillion witches working for him.
Yeah, that's why I don't know. I feel like it has something to do with silver. It's something that they didn't try.
Mm-hmm.
So, because I know that they tried using silver on Tyler's cousin, and that ended up having no effect on him. So they
Yeah,
just
he just
dismissed
laughed
it.
in their faces.
Yeah, they just dismissed it, but they never tried it as a remedy for anything else. So I still feel like you're right. Silver's tied to them in some way, shape, or form, which is probably that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not very surprising, you know, when he's going against the wolves, that he knows that the wolves are going to have to retaliate, and he's got to be prepared for that. So it was either have something like that or have a jar of Klaus's blood somewhere. And having something mysterious that can cure it rather than just having a jar of Klaus's blood lying around makes much more sense to me.
It does.
So, then we had Haley kind of the confrontation between her and Klaus.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
I mean, he was fighting back, and
He
then
started
he started to, and then he just stopped, and which really confused me. And I kind of got to the same point with as she did. She's like, "Why aren't you fighting back?" I was like, "Come on, you need to be fighting back, Klaus. Stop being such a wuss."
Mm-hmm.
And then she turns around, and there's Baby Hope
Walking.
walking.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh,
And
Daddy didn't want to look like the bad guy."
yeah, I mean, not only did, you know, Klaus not want to fight in front of his daughter, but I think it was that realization when Haley's like, I missed her first steps. I missed everything. You know, then Klaus actually showed some sympathy for one. I don't want to say the first time, but one of these rare times, you know, out of Klaus.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of curious now how that story's going to end up playing out.
I mean, they are living across the street, so
Yeah, they're moving in across the street. Elijah's going to compel the guy, whatever, sell it to him, put it in Jackson's name so Klaus can't get in. I have a feeling, though, Jackson will invite Elijah in.
I think Elijah's an essential part of that whole
Yeah.
dynamic there
But
between Haley,
The
Klaus,
fact
and
that Elijah and
Hope.
Jackson are still, like, working together really fucking frightens me.
I know that Elijah loves Haley still a lot, but I think it's more or less for the goodness of Hope. And since
Jackson?
Jackson.
Jackson wants nothing more than for Hope to be protected and loved, just like Elijah. So
Yep. Yeah. And then last week we had Klaus barging in on Cammy. This week we have Cammy barging in on Klaus. And she's like, oh no, it's totally different. She called Klaus a creeper for coming in through the window. Yeah, that's kind of creepy, but Cammy also showing up at like 3 a.m.
Doesn't matter if you use the front door if it's 3 a.m.
Yeah, she still let herself in, unannounced. You know, it may have been a matter of life and death, like she claimed, but it's still a little odd. But, I mean, not for vampires, I guess, because you don't expect them to be sleeping. They're going to be up anyway, so you could just kind of drop over whenever.
you
But to just let yourself in. You know, so I feel like she's got some double standards she needs to work out.
She's always had double standards.
Mm-hmm. But there is some interesting stuff going on with Cammy now. You know, she's working with Detective Kinney. They're sitting there talking, and then he starts prying and asking about her relationship with Klaus, whether it's personal or business. She kind of reveals that there is some business degree to it when she's like, I can't talk about my clients. That's giving him an answer that he's your client. You probably shouldn't even say that, you know?
Well, that's all
That's
you
the
should need to
safest way.
say.
Yeah, that's the safest way to tell him no without having to give him a bazillion excuses.
Or to even have to explain it. It's like, he's a client. She's a psychologist. He's a client. That's it. That's any person with a brain should realize. Oh, that's all they're
But I
going to
feel
say.
like you're still divulging too much information by saying that he is a client in the first place. What she could have said is, if he was a client, I couldn't talk about it.
True.
That just seems more. I guess it seems less intrusive to Klaus, because who says Klaus wants people knowing that he's going to see a psychiatrist? That just seems already true. Betrayal of.
But to say it that way would leave Detective Kinney still asking more questions, because that's like, if he were a client, well, he isn't a client. Okay, I'm going to ask you more questions because it's personal, and this is a case, and you kind of have to tell me because it's a case.
I guess. I don't know, I think he's saying if he was a client, I couldn't talk about it. Leaves it subjective that it could go either way. So, I don't know. That's just me. But he's very insistent. He's like, oh, yeah, I know your uncle, your whole family, like everything's tied. There's something bigger here. I don't think you're necessarily involved in it, but there's something going on with your family. And he's going to find out. So that's going to lead to some problems.
How long till he digs too deep and winds up dead?
Probably about another 6 to 7 episodes.
Maybe sooner.
Still walking?
Yeah.
They're
not going to off him too quickly.
Hopefully not.
Like I said, dead but still walking.
Yeah.
He's going to get turned as a push towards probably one of them to get close to one of the Stylines to off them. I think it's leading into that.
It's possible.
Yeah.
So we know Lucien's kind of manipulative, and we know that Klaus tied he connected the dots and went straight to him and's like, dude, you have to stop doing this stuff because you're here in my city now and we have rules.
Mm-hmm.
It's like every single, Lucien, whatever, shows up, and it's like everything's fucked up. So he's leaving dead people with like Joker smiles carved into them. He's killing werewolves.
When Cammy was like, "Oh, it's your buddy, and you got to go redeem yourself," he's like, "Yeah, that's not him." And then when she showed him the picture, he's like, "I kind of seen this before."
Yeah.
So what do you want me to do? Go kill my best friend to atone all my sins?
Yeah, it seems he's trying to piss off each one of them. So, like, he's pissing off Klaus probably by carving people up in the city. He's pissing off Elijah by killing wolves. I wonder what he's doing to Rebecca right now to piss her off that we don't know about quite yet.
They probably had a fling.
Knowing her, yes.
Yeah.
It's completely possible. And,
likely.
From what we saw in the opening scene, Rebecca seemed rather fond of him, so.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing her, yeah, it's completely possible. And wonder if he's going to get under Freya's skin too. Maybe all the stuff with the witches and the prophecies is for show. Maybe it's not even real prophecies. Maybe it's stuff that he's having the other prophetic witch kind of inject in. And
it's a possibility.
Knowing that Freya is going to dig deeper into it, could be setting her up too to give false information out and then have them turn against her. Because Klaus already doesn't trust her. Elijah does. We don't know 100% Rebecca's stance, but I'm leaning towards she more trusts her than doesn't.
Yeah.
But what about that end? What was going on in that last scene?
I'm assuming that's the two people that then that little flashback that we had where they were introduced to Lucien, that's the asshole Duke's kids. If I remember correctly, their names were Tristan and Aurora.
Mm-hmm.
It seems somebody turned them, and Elijah did mention the something Tristan, blah blah, some crazy title in referring to his sire line. So it's likely that these are people that Elijah turned, who want Klaus dead.
I don't think Elijah turned the sister.
He turned one and or both of them.
Because it seemed like Klaus had a real fondness for the girl.
Yeah, that doesn't mean that he didn't turn her, though.
That's
True.
But yeah, it seemed like Klaus did, and it's something him and Lucien had been fighting over.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was a lot of, oh, did you talk to her? Oh, you know that we haven't spoken in so long, whatever. So it seems like there was definitely some animosity between them over that girl. So
Interesting.
I'm curious to see how that pans out.
I am too. New characters. I like it.
Yeah. And
yeah.
Freya's turned into a real party girl.
I mean, that's a lot of freedom all at once.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'd handle that either.
Yeah, like going suddenly from being stuck in one routine forever, and then all of a sudden it's like, free, go do what you want.
Pretty much.
A completely different time, too. It's like, you get knocked out and you wake up 100 years from now.
I mean, she was fiddling with Finn today. Or in this episode. I did see her do that. She, admired it a little bit.
Yeah.
Her little amulet.
I forgot about that. Finn's not gone.
Mm-mm.
He's in the little amulet.
Mm-hmm.
And Davina is on hell bent on a crusade to bring back Cole.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's still some little things left over from last season that they're, hinting at. I don't think everybody's catching on to.
Yeah, I don't know. I want Cole back.
Of course you do.
Of course you want Cole back. And I'm guessing in his original body.
I mean, they already gave us a flashback of Cole in his original body.
Right. I believe Nathaniel's actually on a new show on CW. He's in a comedy or something right now too. So he's filming, but
well, they've had him on everything on the CW now, haven't they?
Yeah, pretty much. But still
David
tied
Anders.
to the CW leaves him open, schedule. They can work things around, so. But yeah. Anyway, next week the episode is called "I'll See You in Hell" or New Orleans.
Yeah, synonymous at this point.
We will get flashbacks to the first vampire ever sired. With tension running as high as ever, Klaus and Elijah are forced to come together in order to uncover Lucien's true motives in New Orleans. Cammy is caught off guard when she finds herself face to face with Lucien and is surprised when he reveals some unexpected information about his past with Klaus. Elsewhere, a mysterious figure presents an enticing offer to Marcel, while Haley turns to an unconventional way of coping with her current situation. Finally, an old acquaintance from Elijah's past arrives in New Orleans and delivers some startling news involving the growing threat to the Mikealson siblings.
Is this a new acquaintance? Or one that we've already met?
I think it's Tristan.
It's an old acquaintance.
It's an old acquaintance of his, so it's probably...
I know what you
meant. I got... Yeah. It's probably
a new
just
character
Tristan
or one that we've met?
One we've met briefly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that about does it. Nikki, where can the people find you?
They can find me on Twitter at LadyVenom24, LadyYvenom24.
Excellent. Mike, where can the people find you?
They can find me on Twitter at Thilladren, THILLADREN.
You can find me down below at Phenomedom, PHENOMEDOM. You can also find us on Facebook, Gmail, G+, Twitter, and right here on YouTube at /ASOTV podcast for some more podcasts for some of your favorite TV shows. Till next week. Watch out for Haley.
Yeah.
She's on a rampage, that one.
That she'll rip your arm off and beat you to death with it.
Yeah. I don't want that to happen.
Mm-mm.
Bye-bye.